There's a lot of people that want to talk about what they are able to deliver to the marketplace. A lot of people even want to go into the how of the process and the procedures and so forth. And those are all important and true, they are necessary. However, the most important thing that people miss, I believe in general, are why you do what you do. Why is it that you have chosen your particular occupation or your area of expertise? And that's what I want to share with you right now. I've always been a rebel. I've always been that individual, whether it was the training my dad gave me or just maybe something that it was in my DNA. I've always been that person that asks the questions, the person that is willing to risk rejection, willing to be looked at as an outsider. And now I've embraced that as something that has been the key element to my success in life, and that is to be an outlier, to be someone that is at the fringe and maybe even outside the radar, that is always asking the question of, can this be done better? Can this be done differently? Is there a solution that not everyone is using, or is there a solution that the few other people that are outliers that are performing significantly beyond what's called average or mediocre, and what is it that they're doing that is different, whether it's a different way of thinking or a different way of thinking that's opened the door for different processes, strategies, tactics, and procedures that have allowed them to have a significant advantage over what everyone else does at a performance level. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all doing. We're all performing. Who we're performing for is a different subject, not part of this video, but what we want to focus on today is how can you perform at a better level financially? How can you gain that time freedom and that money freedom that comes from being free from debt? Debt is the one thing that acts like the noose that too many of us, without a lot of understanding, willingly stick our head into it, and then we wonder why we spend most of our life twisting and flailing, trying to figure out how to get out of that noose that just continues to constrict and choke us. And that is one of the things that I've always done, because my why, my story of origin, if you will, come from a world where my father and my mother, good individuals. My mother was a school teacher. My father worked for the Postal Service, and they just didn't have the training and the experience to understand what you should do, how you should think differently. So they did what everyone else does. And in fact, they did a little more of what everyone else did, but they expected a different result. And that different result ended up in basically the catastrophic event that happened when I was about 10 years old, where we lost everything, including our home. And then we spent the rest of the years that I was at home, junior high and high school, with me going to work early because I had to do that to earn my income to be able to buy my coat, shoes, and my gear for football and all the other sports. And we had to do that because my parents weren't able to, because they were too busy trying to pay off a consolidation loan after we lost our home and had got ourselves too deep into debt. Now, that has brought me into the financial industry for the last 3 decades, and it's brought me here to you today. And that is me still thinking differently, asking the questions, and stumbling upon those individuals at a financial conference that I was a speaker at. And one of the other speakers that got to the stage there as well is Jason Nightingale. And after I heard him spoke, I thought what he said was so unique that I took him to dinner and basically interrogated him for the entire evening to understand a strategy and the tactics of how to succeed at this strategy that most Americans don't know, that the few thousand that have done it are being able to pay off their mortgage, their number one debt that's connected to their number one asset, pay it off 4 times faster, and knock out all their debt. And that includes student loans, credit cards, installments, everything, and be debt free within 5 to 7 years, no matter where you're still standing on the scale of how much debt you have outstanding. What that means is you are able to take your current income, not adjusting your lifestyle exactly the way you're doing it right now, just using different procedures, how to use a different type of banking account, and how to get that idle savings that you are getting such a horrible rate of return from the bank that turns back around and lends that savings account out at 19.46% interest on credit cards. And you know the other interest rates that they do, and they never share that with you. So how can you use this strategy and tactics and be able to apply it to you and your family so that you can get in 5 to 7 years to that point where you are totally debt free, including zero mortgage. And you have to understand that this requires you to think outside the box, but that is what I've always been doing for the last 3 decades. And it's what opened so many doors that allow me to achieve my level of financial independence and be able to affect thousands of people's lives in a positive way, is that willingness to be the outlier, to be something non-typical, to think outside the 9 dots. So that's really where my concept came from. This is my why, and asking those questions and seeking those out off the radar kind of solutions or out of the box solutions is really what is able to make a difference in your life now. So check out what we have to offer. I've taken all my research, I've put it into my newest book called Paid in Full. It's available in PDF right now, pre-launch, and so looking forward to having you take a look at it and finding a roadmap that's going to allow you to have that time freedom and that money freedom, because you are free from debt. And that means specifically that your mortgage is paid in full 4 times faster than you can even imagine.